It's time to learn stuff while punching crime in the face. I'm K-Wing, and today we're discussing Batman Incorporated, the Grant Morrison pre-52 run. Now, I know the series continued into the new 52, but the Leviathan arc and others were totally different and a little confusing, missing key Bat family members like Stephanie Brown and Black Bat. So we're sticking with the pre-Flashpoint universe, if you don't mind. Okay, so before we begin, I know you're all curious. This skin is very similar to the one that appeared in Arkham City, though it's a little bit more armored and the details are easier to see this time around. The cowl and cape were modeled after, of course, Keaton's iconic suit, and the bat symbol is brought back so that Bruce's bat suit can stand out amongst all the other Batmen. And trust me, INC has a lot of different Batmen because they've gone global. It's a global corporation now. In terms of protection, the suit is made of a thick triple weave Kevlar and will stop anything but a direct shot. Then the suit is of course covered with a material to lessen impacts from jumping or being hit by someone. Also, the gauntlets can shatter knives and other sword-based weapons. So the suit is more than just eye candy. Compared to Gotham's protector, Dick Grayson at the time, Bruce's suit is heavier and the cape is weighed down yet again. Now onto the lore, and I'll do my best to explain this stuff, but we might go off track a little bit because there's some things that happened before INC that I want to talk about. So, as you all know, Bruce Wayne came back from his time-traveling vacation courtesy of Darkseid's Omega Sanctum, or Sanctrum, whatever. So, see Final Crisis and the Return of Bruce Wayne, which involves Bruce essentially becoming a Time Lord, more or less. Anyway, once Wayne returns to the present, he doesn't fire Dick Grayson as the Batman, though he's kind of surprised to see his son as Robin. He's like, that's an interesting choice. Where's Tim? So basically, since Dick has been Batman since the events of Battle for the Cowl and Batman Reborn, Bruce realized that Gotham really likes Dick as Batman, and he's doing an amazing job. He also lets the new dynamic duo, Damian and Dick, still prowl the streets of his city, which, he's really choosy about who he lets hang out in Gotham, because Gotham is his stomping grounds. Anyway, he then puts on a brand new costume and announces his plan to his sons to take over the world. Recruit more Batmen, for his war on crime is now going global. And I always thought that was kind of cool to see Batman come back. This all happened on the Road Home, I believe, is the name of the comic, which we'll talk about a little later because Bruce has some more stuff that he did. So Dick and the readers are like, so now there's gonna be two Batmen? And then Bruce is like, okay, readers, hold on. I'll make this simple for you. I've got the bat symbol on my chest. He doesn't. He's just got whatever that is, and I'm gonna travel the world. So you're in Gotham, and I'm going on vacation. I'm going to recruit. So you stay here, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So it was a goofy idea, but it made for a fun team-up book that used every single Bat family member at that time, which was amazing. One of the things that I really enjoyed about this run is it continued all of Morrison's great work. So Batman and Son, Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul, Batman R.I.P., The Black Glove, Batman and Robin, Batman vs. Robin. And then it expanded the universe, giving us more Batmen than we knew what to do with from all over the world. And yes, even Batwing, not the plane. It's a guy in Africa. Anyway, Grant said that the idea actually came from Batman Brave and the Bold, the Cartoon Network show, actually. And then they basically connected all the different Elseworld international Batmen into one shared universe. That was brilliant. So the first arc of Batman Incorporated revolved around Bruce going to Japan to solve the murder of Mr. Unknown, who was fighting the Bat manga villain, Lord Deathman, who oddly enough just appeared in Batman 66 DC Universe 2 comic a few weeks back, and it was pretty interesting. It had Adam West and Yvonne Craig versus Lord Deathman. It was pretty freaky for, a lighthearted 60s comic, but it was nice to see, DC incorporating this villain more. But we'll talk about that in the Batman 66 lore thing, where we'll cover the comics of the 66 Batman. Back to INC. So, near the end of the amazing Batman and Robin arc, featuring the new dynamic duo, which was my favorite because you had a brooding Robin and a lighthearted Batman, and the two mingling together made for amazing commentary between the two, and the stories were so interesting, seeing the different perspective. It wasn't like having Bruce Wayne and Tim, who was essentially Bruce Wayne, as Batman and Robin. So you had two brooding heroes. And now you had kind of what made the original dynamic duo so interesting. But anyway, I'm losing track of stuff. So as Bruce is back officially, he's like, we need to make a big announcement. So he tells all the guys at Wayne Enterprises, get ready for a big press conference. And then Dick, Tim, and Alfred, and Damian all stand behind Bruce as he makes his earth-shattering announcement. Harvey, I'm Batman! Yeah, sorry about that. I was watching the Batman Forever movie recently. He tells Gotham, for years, I, Bruce Wayne, insane mind and body, have secretly been financing Batman and Robin. And Gotham be like, billionaires say, what? He talks about what happened to his family, to get the crowd all teary-eyed. And how he's not gonna let it happen anymore. So then it gets all preachy. I believe Gotham can come back from the brink, Gotham. Basically like a typical high school football prep rally. So he's really eating off the crowd. And he ends with how he plans to help Batman take his war on crime and make it global. And for the criminals to beware, the Batman is coming to their home turf. And for a second, the crowd is kind of like, so he's the guy who's been paying for all Batman stuff. And then some guy in the back is like, I guess that makes sense. And then they're all happy and they're like, wow, Bruce Wayne is actually cool. He's not an idiot. Well, I mean, he's still an idiot, but he's not as big of an idiot as we thought because he helps Batman. And then you're just wondering why the police don't go and arrest Bruce Wayne because he's financing a vigilante. I mean, that's gotta be illegal, right? Now, when this first happened, I kind of thought this was a clever idea for a few minutes because it removed any suspicions that Batman and Bruce Wayne were one and the same in this universe. Although, a few weeks prior to the announcement in the, I believe it's called the Road Home books, I mentioned kind of previously, we're going to talk about it real quick. Vicky Vale, the former girlfriend of Bruce Wayne, almost spilled the beans about who he was and the rest of the Bat family. Then she got Ra's al Ghul mad at her and a lot of other people and Catwoman because she was going to say everybody's name. And the League of Shadows is like, wait, we can't let this happen because if this book goes global, one, we're not going to get any rights to it. And two, I mean, this could be bad for our base of operations. So let's put a hit on Vicky. So Vicky was in serious trouble. So after the events of R.I.P., as you know, Vale was basically obsessed with connecting Bruce Wayne to Batman. And it was a major subplot for a lot of Morrison's early Batman and Robin stories that were later carried into the solo Robin, dubbed Red Robin books, and was later wrapped up in INC and during the road home. So all you need to know is Bruce saves Vicky from Ra's al Ghul. She promises never to tell anybody about Batman's secret identity, and Bruce is like, cool, I'll give you a call. And then anxiously for a long time, Vicky sits by her phone waiting for her crush to call her. So her character goes from really cool independent woman, who's this amazing Pulitzer Prize winning journalist to, yeah. So, I mean, some people weren't really thrilled with that, but it was better than what happened to Wonder Woman later in the New 52, so yeah. So, back to what happened after the announcement. We're time traveling here, going all over the place. So, Bruce announced to the world Batman's plans, and back in the Batcave, he's giving a prep talk to the Bat family. And one thing I have to mention, because it was hilarious, right after Bruce Wayne came back, he goes to tell Stephanie Brown how proud he is that she took over the mantle of Batgirl. Stephanie thinks that Bruce is taking away her right to be Batgirl, and she's like, I'm not getting none of this. She slaps him like right in mid-sentence of something and then runs away, and she's like, oh my gosh, what'd I do? That was just what was so great about Stephanie Brown. You never knew what she was gonna do. And, she can get away with slapping Batman and still not get fired. I thought that was kind of funny. But after he talked to all the known Bat family members, he contacted Selina and says, I need you to come to Japan with me. And she's like, okay, why? He's like, well, I need you to steal something for me. And everybody's like, whoa, has Bruce gone bonkers? Actually, no. This was a test for Mr. Unknown, so Tokyo's hero, think of like the Gray Ghost, and Zoro, like Japanese. And, Batman wants her to steal something so that Mr. Unknown can prove himself. Unfortunately, when Selina and Bruce end up in Japan, they learn of the death of Mr. Unknown at the hands of Lord Deathman. Yes, the 60s Japanese manga foe from the Batman interpretation is now in the official DC Comics. Wow, that's hard to say. Did that even come out right? So his sidekick, or body double, has taken over the Mr. Unknown identity and is trying to save his girlfriend. When Lord Deathman taunts the young man, I believe his name is Jiro, I'm terrible with Japanese names, about the only way that he can stop Mr. Deathman or whatever is for the vigilante to kill him. So Jiro, not thinking because his girl's in danger, he shoots him like 3 times and knocks Lord Deathman to his death like 20 stories below. Batman and Catwoman arrive just as the murder occurs and they see Lord Deathman falling, and Batman calls Mr. Unknown cowardly for using a gun, then jumps off the building to try to save Jiro's girlfriend before she falls in the tank. But unfortunately, he doesn't get there in time. She falls in the tank, and then they end up fighting a giant octopus because it's Japan. So in the hospital, Mr. Unknown talks about his mentor and how he was the body double. The mentor was the detective, and then Jiro, like the pizza delivery guy, would go out and do the physical justice, more or less, as Japan's masked hero. And Batman's kind of like, that sounds like Batman Beyond. Whoa, hold a second. How do I know about that? So that's essentially what that was. So you could think old Bruce and then Terry. That's what Mr. Unknown was. So after, he has this heart-to-heart with Bruce, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna do you a favor, and I'm gonna join Batman Incorporated. And Bruce is like, no! You broke rule number 1, son! And he's like, what's that? No guns! I hate guns. Guns killed my family. And Jiro's like, oh. So later at the morgue, Lord Deathman comes back to life and kills the doctors all around him, because people are trying to figure out how to get off his weird face skull thing. And then he says, I'm gonna get revenge on all costumed Japanese heroes. Whether or not this includes cosplayers, no one really knows. So for whatever reason, he decides to hit a museum in Tokyo where there's a costumed hero on patrol or something. I don't know, I never really got that. He's waging war on all these costume heroes. Batman and Catwoman show up along with Jiro, and they face Lord Deathman yet again. It's a mighty battle, and Jiro, even though he's like using not guns anymore, he gets shot multiple times by Lord Deathman. And Batman's just kind of like, oops. And it looks like Jiro is now dead. So Batman then places Lord Deathman inside a rocket and sends him into space because he deduces this guy's just gonna come back to life and cause problems again. We're just gonna send him into the moon. And Catwoman is really upset at Batman for Mr. Unknown's newest death, and she's like, how are we supposed to recruit a dead guy? Batman's like, shh, quiet, Selina. Jiro faked his death, it's fine. I'm gonna put him on a 3-month trial though for using the guns, but the Batman of Japan is now born. In the new 52, it's really interesting to note that Jiro gets his own Batcave and a costume that looks like something out of Kamen Rider, the Showa era, not the weird Kamen Rider decade and stuff like that. He doesn't look like a robot, he looks like, a Power Ranger, more or less. So now during his journey, Bruce meets a lot of other new recruits that we'll talk about really quickly. The Batman of France, which is a free runner. He goes by the name Night Runner and later gets trained by Dick Grayson. Because Batman's just kind of like, all right, we're gonna incorporate this guy, here's a costume. And then Dick's like, whoa, what about some proper training for the kid? And Batman's like, yeah, I gotta go to Australia, you handle things here. And Dick's like, what? So then Dick has to train the new guy, and it's interesting. So the Australian guy is not the original hero called Dark Ranger, and there are a lot of these different DC heroes, by the way, that are just being pulled into Batman Incorporated, and there are a lot of really unknown characters, so don't expect backstories on them, okay? Because some of them are unknown to even me. So Dark Ranger is this guy that looks like an astronaut who shoots people. And he had a sidekick. And I forget the sidekick's name, but all you need to know is the original Ranger guy dies, then the sidekick takes his place, and he becomes a member of Batman Incorporated as Dark Ranger. Now, what he brings to the table is hand-to-hand combat and firearms expert. Though how Batman Incorporated is cool with Ranger using guns and not Jiro still confuses me a lot. There's also a guy from Europe that is called the Hood, and he's basically a knockoff of Azrael, and he represents the world as the Batman of England or something. Fan favorite Cassandra Cain returns to the Bat family as Black Bat and the protector of Hong Kong. Her partner internationally is Tim Drake, the Red Robin, and he is Batman's second in command. And they have some kind of cool stories that are in Batman Incorporated involving Hong Kong, and of course dealing with some things that Leviathan is doing. Now, more heroes that become part of Batman's new war on crime include a guy from Africa named David, who would later have a much bigger role in the New 52 as Batwing. Again, not to be confused with the plane. This is a guy that kind of looks like Batman Beyond with an open mask type thing. So like a domino mask and a robot suit, sort of. And it's silver. Yeah, it looks like a plane. It really does. But David actually becomes a secondary character, along with, I know I'm going to say this wrong, El Gacho Santiago Vargas. Basically, all you need to know about this guy is he's a spiral agent turned costume crime fighter, and I believe he's in Argentina. So originally, this guy refuses to join Batman Incorporated because he feels somewhat responsible for the death of Kathy Kane, the original Batwoman from the Silver Age. How they work it in the story, I still don't really understand how Grant did it, because I was kind of confused how the 70s stuff still took place after 0 Hour and things like that, but somehow Grant managed to do it, and this guy had some connection to Kathy's death. Somehow they, patch things up, and Batman works with the guy to help stop Leviathan from kidnapping children. And the storyline then continues more into the New 52. Lastly, Knight and Squire, Man of Bats, and Red Raven from the Batman of All Nations stories, along with Batman's Outsiders, officially join Batman's army. Yeah, I know, this is a ton of info to digest. The simple version is that Batman's armies, their main purpose is to defeat Leviathan splinter groups. Leviathan is an organization that is slowly taking over the world like Cobra. Batman and his agents deal with the different lieutenants and people that are scattered across the globe, okay? For the most part, the team-up books were really fun to read, and Morrison did a good job of keeping the Incorporated story arc consistent. He seemed to really like El Gacho, though, because he appeared in the most books, if memory serves right. Together with Batwoman, the three heroes actually prevent a metahuman bomb from going off, which could have destroyed half of Europe. And I don't really talk that much about Kate Kane, but that is the Batwoman who is working with Batman Incorporated, and of course she has a bigger role in the New 52. Anyway, leading into the final issue before, DC's reboot from Flashpoint Paradox, we see Batgirl Stephanie Brown and Red Robin working together again. And it was a fun read, I will say that. Steph in this book goes undercover at an all-girls school or college or private school, whatever. She is there to help Batman and company infiltrate kind of a training ground for Leviathan agents. Over time, she gets discovered by the cult because, well, she's Stephanie, and we find out that the cult girls wear old Batwoman, like 70s uniforms or something like that. And they plan to hang Stephanie along with somebody else because they think that either one of them could be Batgirl. Steph uses her epic moves and saves the day, and at the end of the issue, even gets praised by Bruce Wayne and Oracle, which is enough for Stephanie. She's like, yeah, I'm all that in a bag of chips. At the end of the series, Leviathan's leader, Cobra Commander's boss, is revealed as none other than Talia al Ghul. After the demise of Ra's in this pre-52 universe, at least I think he's dead, I forget, the heir to the demon did some expanding of her own, got rid of the League of Shadows, and kind of created this new group called Leviathan. And that is a good stopping point because the New 52 stuff is very complex and it just goes all over the place. Why they continued the Batman Incorporated stuff, I really don't know, because a lot of the key figures that they introduced, they didn't come back. So Black Bat, Cassandra Cain, and the Hong Kong story was stopped. The Russian Batman was kind of stopped. The Stephanie Brown Batgirl stuff, which was amazing, was replaced with Barbara Gordon, and it just didn't feel the same. Batman's network essentially got a lot smaller in Incorporated. Also, I really didn't like that Knight from Knight and Squire died fighting the Heretic, you know, the guy who kills Robin, Damian Wayne. But I did enjoy Wingman becoming Jason Todd, of all people. I thought that was hilarious. And the fact that he worked with Damian before his death was kind of interesting to see those two interact because they really don't like each other. So it was Grumpy versus Grumpier. So while DC tried to continue the storyline of Batman Incorporated, I kind of wish they didn't because it was just, eh. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're done. Thanks for watching. In the comment section below, tell me what Batman skin you want to learn about next here on the Nightwing 01 channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with more Batman tomorrow. Bye-bye.